No, no! Welcome to OTP, new episode, post Nashville, pre-Chicago. Cory, so with Amazon coming into the mix, I don't think they fully announced the whole announcer lineup yet, but I came across this gentleman on the internet, and if they don't have someone, this needs to be the guy.
Welcome to the shit show. This right here, if you've been watching this race, if you hadn't been watching the race, don't matter. This is a shit show right here. I don't even know how many damn restarts we've had for overtime. Here it comes, son. Overtime number 20 freaking 7. Logano's digging on the inside. Here comes Briscoe, baby.
Real quick. So there was a lot of cautions because people were running out of gas at the end. And my wife, we were watching this, and she goes, because at this point, Logano had no chance of making it on fuel. And she was kind of annoyed with the fact that there's no chance you're going to make it, and you're probably just going to cause another wreck, and you're just going to have to do this again. And she's like, if Logano runs out of gas, he should have some kind of crazy penalty, like having to give his hairpiece back.
What in the world? Smith is up here. Whoa, baby. Priest is digging. Holy cow. Look at the 45 of Reddick, baby. He's coming out of nowhere. This sucker's digging, baby. Logano's gonna stretch out a lead. Logano's up there going, have at it, boys. I got this one taken care of, son. And here comes Reddick on the outside. We got 2 to go. There's no way the leader takes the white flag. We've been through this 27 times. Holy cow. This thing. Wow.
He oddly makes me miss Darrell Waltrip.
Yeah, just a little bit. There's a boogity just on the back of his tongue right now, just wanting to come out. But the energy is definitely there.
They may go all the way now, baby. They might just go all the way. Here's Reddick digging on Logano's rear end. Reddick's trying to go left. Logano's going right. We got a circus back here. Holy cow. They dump off into the turn, baby. And Reddick's on the outside, son. He's on his horse, baby. He's on his horse. He ain't gonna get there. Oh, wait a minute. Holy cow.
So if you mix that with Dale Jr. and allegedly Alan Bestwick, it might be the greatest commentary crew of all time.
For sure. Over under on how many years that dude has left if he watches every race like that.
Oh.
No,
yeah.
That'll do it. And have we heard more because I've been wanting Alan Bestwick the whole time it's been discussed, but have we heard more kind of leaning that way?
I haven't, not really since the initial announcement that Amazon was coming in. That was kind of the speculated guy. I don't know even if that was factual at all, but it would be awesome.
I hope so.
But ironically, when we did the episode featuring Bill Weber, I was looking for photos of him for the cover photo for the YouTube, and when you search Bill Weber, one of the first pictures that come up is him standing there holding a microphone, and it has the Amazon logo photoshopped onto it.
Oh man.
I think it was just funny, but that'd be awesome if he came back.
That would be really funny. Yeah, dude, I don't know what it is with me and searching Bill Weber. I always just get the senator. But that would be nice, though. It'd be, we wouldn't have to look up nearly as much if he was there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
He was AI before AI.
Yeah. I was going to try to make a clever joke, but there's too many letters in Bill, which isn't a lot, but it's more than GPT.
That'd be actually a pretty awesome attachment to ChatGPT if you could download the Bill Weber voiceover so when it reads back to you.
Yeah, voice voice 8 just sounds suspiciously like Bill Weber in a hotel feud.
So we had 5 overtimes in Nashville. A lot of chaos. Kyle Busch got bit again. So I don't know if you saw the part where Kyle Busch got in the Kyle Larson wreck, where he tried to get into Denny and he ended up getting into Ross and caused a big old wreck.
Yeah.
And Kyle got slowed up in that a lot, lost a lot of track position, but then was given back the spot to restart 4th. You familiar with that?
Yeah. Like I know we were talking about it. This is in true me fashion, like we said last week. I haven't actually seen an entire Nashville race yet. And I had places like we actually had a friend moving over from England, and like we were celebrating him coming back, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll be over after the race, but like the rain delay pushed that into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we had texted about it, and did we get like an official ruling? Because I assumed it was maybe because like there was no other avoiding action he could take.
Yeah, so I didn't hear like an official announcement from like a NASCAR representative, but on the Dale Jr. download, he was talking about how NASCAR will do that sometimes. I mean, I would assume that would be much more familiar with that process if that was the case, but what they want you to avoid like throttling through a wreck to not lose position. So like him, I mean, he did rub the wall, but he wasn't necessarily in the wreck. So I guess that was Dale Jr.'s philosophy on why he got it back. He didn't necessarily agree with it, but was that he wasn't really in the wreck. He was slowing down to avoid the wreck, and they ended up giving him his position back. I don't know. It was more funny to me listening to like Jeff Burton's reaction. Because as they were coming to the green, they're like, one of the other broadcasters was like, Kyle Busch gets his spot back and is going to restart 4th. And Jeff Burton just goes, that is ridiculous. And then the race starts. And then they didn't really touch back on it until like the next caution, which ironically was like 35 seconds later.
Which was also probably the one that took him out.
I think so, yes.
So he probably would have been better off to not have gotten his spots back.
Yeah, you're better off losing the spots, getting fuel, and you probably would have ended up with a top 10.
Yeah, for sure. Like, where did he end up?
I don't know. He didn't finish. So,
great
20.
Then.
Yeah. First, when he got out of the car, I thought he was bowing. Because, like, he got out, like, he couldn't get the car going. He was just, like, burning the tires off of it. I'm assuming frustration. Then he gets out, and, like, the AMR, like, safety truck was, like, not parked anywhere near him. And he was doing this, like, thing where he's, like, pointing down, but, like, out of frustration, like, get over here. But it looked at first like he was just, like, bowing, which reminded me of, like, Dale Jr. at the end of his DEI days when he, like, blew up an engine every race. And there was that one where he, like, blew up and then, like, spun to the infield and then, like, did a bow and he got out of the car.
Yeah, that was wild. There's only like 8 engines in a season. Like that, like is unheard of. It was pretty ridiculous then, but it's insanely unheard of now.
Yeah.
But it is funny though. Like it would be Kyle Busch's luck to get out of his car, have the safety truck park a little bit too far away, and then when he goes to walk to the truck, they like fine him for leaving the car.
Yeah, that would be his luck. Yeah. I was 1 week away from getting the picks right though. Picked Joey last week.
Yep.
He got it this week.
Yeah, I know. I had Larson, who somehow still managed to finish in the top 10 because that's what Larson does.
Mm-hmm.
Like he, regardless of whether or not he looks like he's going to win, he will just kind of decide that he wants to have a great day, and then he'll just be there, even after running out of gas like one restart before.
You know, another thing, I wasn't going to bring it up because most of this was based off pure frustration in the moment, and I was going to let it go because I haven't heard anything about it. But then that kind of made me more mad that I haven't heard anything about it. So when Larson drives in the corner onto Hamlin, I almost even like tweeted about it. I didn't even really ever tweet, but like
not too much.
Like how much I was annoyed by it. So he gets on Larson. or gets on Hamlin and like washes up and collects Ross. Whatever. If any other situation, that would be just a racing situation. But anytime, if that was reversed and it was Larson on the outside and it was Chastain doing what Larson did, we would be talking about it in every news article. Cliff Daniels would be keying up in the microphone, complaining to Chevy. Larson did it.
Yep.
It happened, and no one talked about it again.
That's true. I have not seen a single. Maybe it's because everything's overshadowed just by how many overtimes there were. But I haven't seen a single person talk about that since the restart after it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like completely forgotten.
Yeah.
No, I like you're on. Like Larson.
Like I'm fine with it when
yeah.
anyone does it. Like it happens. But I just sometimes felt like Ross was just getting grilled on sometimes over things that like every other driver does.
Yeah, racing incidents.
Yeah.
Like and like maybe one or two too many times it happened near or to Denny.
Yeah.
So a really big spotlight on it. But yeah, it's Larson in many ways gets a little bit of a pass on a lot of stuff just because like honestly I've been kind of shocked that Chase has been NASCAR's most popular driver still since Larson came back, because I feel like when he came back he had a whole new world of fans and it's hard to not root for him because everyone knows how good he is.
Yeah.
But then you put him in the best car and he's always there. Like he really doesn't win nearly as much as he should.
Yeah.
He's just there, but he gets a lot of passes on stuff and it's like it's really not brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And he shares a trait with Jimmy Johnson a little bit too, in that he's probably, as far as unforced errors go, Larson probably makes more of them than most drivers. Like most like good drivers.
Yeah.
Like he's always like prone to just like spin out of turn 2 for no reason, hate himself, and Cliff talks him back up, and then they go and win the race. Kind of deal.
Yeah, it's they definitely have a Jimmy and Chad type relationship, it seems.
Totally. Like milk and cookies just never necessary. But like yeah, it's definitely like shades of Chad and Jimmy for sure.
Yeah. So we have some silly season news. All of which are about people nobody really cares about, but we'll cover it anyways. That's what we're here to do.
We do it for you guys.
Josh Berry, he's going to the Wood Brothers, but he's not bringing Rodney Childers with him. What are your takes?
I actually didn't hear this.
Yeah,
I didn't know it. Was there word on why?
Not yet. But I'm assuming it will be soon. It just got announced today.
Yeah. I would have to imagine that it's probably because Childers is so like ingrained with Haas, and like even though they are like severely downsizing, that he's probably a guy they want to keep around. So I think that's probably more of a Haas decision than a compatibility thing that he just wasn't going to make the move over.
So do you think Barry will find six? I mean, the 21 car, anyone who's been in it hasn't really had success other than, I guess, Ryan Blaney. Some. Yeah. But is Barry capable of creating that success without the veteran crew chief? It's kind of like not that he's this great, but it's kind of like the Belichick Brady, the Johnson Canals situation. Where is it the crew chief or is it the driver? I mean, obviously Barry's been super successful in short track racing, and it seems to be picking it up as we're going here in the Cup Series. But is without that veteran crew chief, you seen what he's done with Harvick and so on. Will he be able to? You think he'll be able to find that success in the Wood Brothers?
I feel like he is coming on more now. I almost feel like we'll see like a similar level of performance, because there is definitely a degree of, because like there is no car in NASCAR like the Cup car until you're in Cup.
Right.
So the more familiar he gets with it, I feel like he can make up some of that difference. And then, not sure. Like I said, the news is very, very fresh. I don't know exactly if he's retaining like Burton's crew chief or anything like that, but I have a feeling that Barry can do it, or at least get similar levels to success or of success that he's already having, even though he might reach higher highs later in this season and then have to kind of take a step down.
Right. Yeah, I feel like it's a huge loss for the Wood brothers to not get the package deal,
Yeah, for sure.
especially because they talked about wanting to go as a package. And
Yeah.
now they're not getting the package.
Yeah, it would definitely greatly benefit them for sure. They
Yeah.
probably just need a few more
Dollars.
guys, yeah. And that just know what they're doing, like that know how to be in a successful team. Because Wood Brothers has been floating around, obviously, like a strong Penske affiliation, but it's not Penske.
Right.
So, like, they could use someone like Childers, but ain't getting them. So they'll have to figure it out.
The other news, which we kind of touched on last week, but it's now completely official. Briscoe to the 19 at Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that'll just be a disappointment overall.
Yeah, we'll see. Like it could go, I guess, either way, but it was a move apparently everyone saw coming, but everyone that I've ever spoken to is like, okay, like why? Cool. Next.
This one came out yesterday. This is the perk of doing a midweek show, is we get all the juice.
Yeah.
Deegan, as in Haley Deegan, is out this week at Chicago from her Xfinity ride, and Joey Logano is filling in, apparently to just evaluate the equipment, which I feel like it's not really the ideal week to do that. The road course, that's of course like a lot of different variables.
Yeah, it's not just a road course.
Yeah.
I've driven on those exact streets in Chicago. It's bumpy as hell. But all right.
I think
because we're not the one making the calls.
Yeah, I feel like that's a nail in coffin situation.
It's funny that you said nail in coffin, because I was about to say, like, how many nails does a coffin need? Like it'll be pretty telling if Joey goes out there and just has I wouldn't expect Joey to necessarily go out there and win, but if he has a pretty damn good day, then that's very telling for someone who is in that car all the time.
See, I don't really watch much Xfinity, but from what I heard in some other content, I can't really remember exactly which ones, but apparently Brian, or I think his name's Brian Moffitt, he was a truck all-star for a while. He drove that car that Deegan's running now last year and had some mild success in that. A lot of top fives, led some laps. I don't know if he won necessarily, but it wasn't horrible. Deegan right now is currently the lowest driver in points of full-time Xfinity drivers, including actually behind Eric Almirola, who hasn't even ran all the races.
That's not great.
That's not good.
It's not great. Oh, yeah. Why is she out for Chicago again?
Because they want to evaluate.
Just for that?
Yeah, they want to evaluate. Yeah. She's not injured or sick or has something.
I was going to say, I didn't know if there was someone else there, because that's even worse.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you clearly aren't good enough to tell us how the equipment is. Yeah. We need someone else to.
And like in the track they chose to do it is what's most concerning, because if they did that at like whatever intermediate is next, or even any other track that they do a typically style track they would run on, would make the most sense. But this track doesn't really correlate to much of anything else. So yeah, it's definitely,
it doesn't even compare with other road courses.
Yeah. So,
have you ever had a chance to run the Chicago Street Course in iRacing?
I haven't.
It's a cool track. I've enjoyed it in other cars a lot more than any of the NASCARs.
Yeah.
A little downforce goes a long way. And like NASCAR, just either car, like the Gen 6 or 7, doesn't generate enough downforce for me to feel comfortable, especially through like that long sweeping corner around like the fountain section.
Yeah.
But it is a cool track. I have more than once made errors that put me pretty much down into the parking garage I parked in when I was there. Because like when you miss corners, you like pretty much end up in a parking garage. But it is, I do really like the track, and I love that NASCAR does it. but it is such a strange track to evaluate equipment on.
Oh yeah, almost like not even worthy of trying.
Yeah, for sure.
But speaking of Chicago, I have did a little compilation of the top 3 greatest Chicago moments. Do you want to take a guess at any of these top 3? Because I don't think you'd see them coming.
Top 3 Chicago moments. Let's say, is this, as a broad hint, is this all going to be funny stuff, or is this like Chicago achievements?
It's Chicago NASCAR.
Chicago NASCAR. Okay, so it is all just in the weekend.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily, but yes.
Oh, okay. Then I'm just
like
to say,
I forgot that they've raced in Chicago before this.
Yeah, same. What about? God, when was the last year we raced in Chicagoland?
What year is it now? 24. So I'm going to say 2020, 2021, maybe.
Okay. Let's see here. Knowing us, is the Gordon Kenseth moment on it?
It's in there, yeah.
It's in there. Okay. Then I would have to say, like, SVG winning in his first start is one of them.
It's not.
I don't know if it's. I don't know if you would pick it, but
I was hoping
that'd
be your only choice. So that's why I didn't put it in there.
Did you pick something from the street course that, like, from last year?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Dude, I can't remember Chicago much other than Harvick, I think, won the first 2. The curve back straightaway. I think Bowman won one of the last races there, but that's all I can really remember.
Funny you say that. So I was putting together this stuff at work because I had free time today, ironically. And so I bounced a few things off Earl. And this wasn't even going to be a top 3 until he reminded me that other things happened at Chicagoland.
Well, no, I think that was Atlanta. Never mind. Okay.
So he goes, one of the things he mentioned was Bowman winning. I said, I don't really know if that's a great moment. I mean, maybe for him, but
just a moment. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll kick it off. Number 3.
A tribute to the man in black, Dale Earnhardt, on this, the 3rd lap of the race.
And that is number 3. I didn't have the clip ready. It looks like I didn't name it, so I'm hoping it's this one.
Look what's chasing Todd Szegedy around the racetrack.
I wonder what was going through Todd's mind when he looked up and saw that big orange thing coming at him. I don't think
that's the one.
Greatest moments in
history. Totally. Like, I don't know why. I think I didn't initially connect because it was the Tropicana, like 400 or whatever. But I thought of the orange, but I was like, no, I thought that was Atlanta. But no, that's exactly what it was.
This is one of the ones that Earl reminded me of. He's like, oh, the big orange? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
I've never seen anything like this happen before.
Can you imagine? You're driving around into turn 3 and the spotter says, trouble in turn 4. What is it? I don't know. But it's big and orange.
I think this balloon is bound and determined to complete this lap.
Is it going to miss the timing lights? Yes.
I think the Tropicana orange set track record.
Who is this guy?
Billy something.
Billy, you're a flame butcher.
Somewhere there was a young video game developer to be who saw that orange on the track and was like, I have a great idea and I'm going to call it Rocket League. Because imagine if those cars actually hit that thing and just like bounced it around.
Track record.
So that's number 3. Now
I'm surprised it's not higher on the list, honestly.
There's some good ones.
Okay.
Yes, it's 2. 2, ha-ha! And now for your number pleasure, 2 tubas in, 2 twos, tap dancing.
And here comes Larson. Larson to the bottom of the track.
Slide job.
Trying to take the lead away.
Slide job.
Slide job.
Slide job. Almost.
The
this was Dale Jr.'s first broadcast, right?
It might have been. It did fall around that point in the season.
Momentum. The 18. They make contact. The 18 into the wall. They're side by side again. Going into 3 for the lead. Larson has the advantage. Here comes the 18. He puts the...
He just drove straight into him.
Straight into. Like, I mean, fair.
18. He puts the bump into the back of him. The 18 into the wall. The 42 sideways. Here comes the 18. Kyle Busch will win.
That might be one. Like, I forgot that happened. I only remember seeing.
I forgot it was Chicago. I thought that was like Kentucky or something.
I thought it was California. Everything Earl said, I thought happened in California or Auto Club.
Yeah, that would also make sense for the Orange. Not because of Orange's significance there, but like I feel like there was a Tropicana link there at some point too.
Yeah,
that's probably wrong. But did you remember Kyle Busch's reaction to finding out where Larson finished?
No.
It wasn't like a spectacular reaction, but I think when they were interviewing him, like they mentioned that he finished third. He's like, he finished third? Wow. He knew he dumped him.
He was number 1.
Number 1, Chicago moment of all time.
Points knocked him out of the top 10, but right now he's on the bumper of the leader. Oh! Kenseth goes around off the front end of Gordon.
Jeff Gordon just does it with so much more elegance than everyone else.
It really does. Like, doesn't look like he's ever going to wreck during it. Like, just like gets you, goes about his day.
You learn from the best, the man in black.
Dale did it to him enough times in like various sessions that he just learned how to do. Oh, was this? This is 04, right?
Nextel, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, or if it wasn't, I feel like it could have been maybe up through, because I think that they started racing there in 2001. I'm pretty sure because Kansas debuted with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that timeline checks out. I feel like it's 04 or 06.
Yeah,
and whichever one of those years, I'm pretty sure was the year that Kenseth spun Gordon at Bristol, and this was kind of the payback for it.
We might have a clip of that too.
Oh yeah.
And automatically you think of what happened at Bristol between the 17 and the 24.
Nailed it.
17 and the 24 that resulted in that shoving incident.
So speaking of the shoving incident, drop the clip.
Jeff Gordon just got by Matt Kenseth for third space. Oh, and look at this. The 24 just went around. We're still green.
That car is the coolest looking car of like all time. Like that paint job with that body lines is just sweet.
Yep.
Good. Still green. Busch wins it. Woo!
Jeff Gordon out of his car, and he's not happy with Matt Kenseth.
I'm going to give it back to him what he gives to me.
I didn't do it on purpose, and I would be mad if I was him. And I left my car to go over and apologize him, which I probably should have waited a little bit longer.
What's that horn? Someone just like dock a shit.
So yeah, excluding SVG's win, which I feel like was too obvious, those were what I consider the best 3 moments and probably the only rememberable moments from Chicagoland.
Yeah, and the best thing about them being memorable moments of Chicagoland is that we didn't remember they were at Chicagoland. And I don't even think there's anything wrong with the track. It just like it doesn't necessarily look terribly distinct. Besides, like the backstretch is really unique, but it doesn't stand out. Like if something happens at like Daytona versus Talladega, even you'll remember because the tracks just look so different.
Right, and that's exactly what I said to Earl. Every time I would say, like we were like riffing after that, and I brought up anything, he's like, "Well, that was Michigan, or that was Auto Club." And I'm like, they're all the same thing. They all just seem the same.
Yeah, that's why. Like kind of throw it toward like next week too. Like that's why things like Chicago are really cool. Like they're not like plenty of other series. Like F1 actually races way too many street circuits. IndyCar loves street circuits and ovals exclusively, almost like they have actual road courses. But it's cool that NASCAR just does one. just to do it. It looks different. Like, we will remember it. We will remember how many times Noah Gragson hit the wall in the same spot because he couldn't figure out his breaking point. Like, the shot of SVG coming up over like the bridge with like the lamps lighting the way because it was like so dark. It just looks unique, even if it doesn't always, because we haven't seen a dry race there. So like, even if it doesn't put on the greatest show, like year to year, it's just a really unique challenge with cool visuals that like will stick with you. Like all the shots of them NASCAR posted today, like our view heading into work this week, and it's all the cars coming out of turn 2, going down the straightaway, and all the skyscrapers around them. Just looks so cool.
Yeah.
It's everything from 2005 Chase for the Cup that you wanted, but it's actually got the real cars on it. Instead of just that weird, like, deepfake Ryan Newman and, like, a Dodge Viper.
That was so weird.
It was really weird.
You get that, like, I'm assuming Nextel phone, and you get, like, that message from Ryan Newman, and he's like, "Hey, pussy, you want to drag race me on the streets tonight?" And I'm like,
Yep. Oh,
he was a bully.
I think that... What?
He was a bully. In that
he's a bully. He was a bully.
He's like, "You want a bottle of vodka and street race? What, pussy?"
Yeah, that game was wild. Remember Total Team Control?
Yeah.
The best way to like do a whole race and be like, I'm not winning. I'm gonna switch to my teammate who is winning. And win.
More times than not, I'd screw myself because I'd want to dominate, so I'd always drop back and pull up the next guy, and then I would ultimately end up losing the race. But I had 3 chances to win, and I wouldn't win with any of them.
Nice.
Story of my life. Well,
right.
So we're heading to Chicago officially now. Picks for this week. What do you got?
Well, hold on here. So, who actually won last week? Obviously, neither of us won the race. But because like I feel like I always get to pick first. I feel like you deserve that honor every once in a while.
Yeah. I can't even remember honestly who I picked last week. No, we did. We picked other drivers. I picked Byron.
Oh yeah, and I picked Larson.
Yeah. Okay. So between the two, I'm assuming you finished higher because Byron had one of those days.
Yeah. I think we talked about too how he's like either really good or he seems to just be like completely off. And Larson did his Larson thing and finished 10th, or not 10th, but in the top 10. Let's see here. Well, first of all, is SVG in this race?
He is.
He is. Okay.
Yep.
I will not go with SVG. I love SVG, and I won't be I won't be like upset if he wins. But last year was actually largely dominated by Bell and Reddick. So to sleep on either of those, and I know I just recently picked Bell, but I'm going to pick Bell again. I just feel like Reddick is like, I kind of feel like the safer bet, but that's what I'm going to, yeah, Christopher Bell for Chicago.
All right. Well, I'd love to agree with you, but you're wrong. And here's why. I also would love to pick SVG, but like statistically, I feel like for him to repeat that situation is unlikely.
Yeah.
As far as like probably an odds go. But also
and weather and type of track played into his favor a lot last year. So I think if we have a dry session, I don't know if I would say he's the best.
Yeah. But also like you, I would not be upset if he managed to do it again. But I'm going to go with someone a little different. And you're not even going to see this coming. It's coming out of left field, but it is somewhat statistically backed. My man Justin Haley, I feel like he's going to be the one that's going to be the dark horse in the dark horse, and he's going to pull it off. In his second last year, actually was somewhat running with or even running down SVG towards the end there in the colleague car. He's finished in the top 10 at every road course this year. He's had decent speed on ovals. Maybe this week's his week.
that crossed my mind. Like, that is definitely a very, very good pick. And also, like, if he wins the race, that's just it seems more out of left field than it is. But how did he get into position last year? Obviously, I know like Chase was in position because of like how the tire strategy worked out. SVG was further back and had a really big tire offset because of strategy. But was Haley kind of on that same strategy as Chase?
Yeah, I think so. I think that he got up there for some reason unknown, but once he got up there, he held his own and was actually pretty quick.
Yep. The back and forth between Haley and I actually sold Haley and his I don't know if they're married or not, but at the time I don't think they were, but I sold his girl a pair of skis.
Yeah, his wife.
He was a very nice guy. Yes. But yeah. But anyway, like they're back and forth like through like the turn like 2 to 5. Consult my track map. Yeah, like 2 to 5 was some of like the coolest racing I've seen. Honestly, on a street course, it's probably the best of any series I've ever seen because they passed each other like 3 times.
Yeah.
and essentially a straightaway, but because turn 3 is a corner. Because it's like really, you can throw off your balance a lot if you don't manage your throttle and your weight properly in it. And they were still passing each other the whole time. So very cool. And it was wet and it was sketchy and they still both sent it.
Wet and sketchy are my favorite situations when it comes to sending it. I was just while you were talking and I was kind of listening, I was looking at my own face and I noticed like my nose has a huge spot there. I probably have so much downforce. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you probably do. It also could be a lot of drag though.
Yeah, true. That's probably where the
kind of. Yeah, I mean, the flatter the nose, you start getting like that 2019, 2020 Ferrari thing. Not that you would know anything about that. Like, it's very, very draggy because it had a big flat nose.
I got a Fuawi nose.
Fuawi.
There's this kid, I had this kid that interned with me, and he was pretty stupid. And he knows. I'm not breaking any news here. I don't know how it came up, but I called the car for a Fuawi, and he thought that's what it was called. And then like weeks later, he came up to me and said something about like a car he saw online that was getting wrapped or something, and he's like, "Oh man, I saw this Fuawi online getting color wrapped." So yeah, that kid is out there in the world calling Ferraris Fuawis.
Yeah, and he might be out there like defending our country. Who knows? Doing something very important.
Yeah, he's probably not. Probably just mad.
Oh man!
All right, man. Well, it's a riveting episode, and if you are a listener, I do suggest that you listen to us and watch us on YouTube, because this podcast is slowly transitioning to a lot of visuals, such as my nose.
It is.
And the NASCAR clip. So if you only listen to audio and you have a lot of time to waste, I would definitely recommend checking us out on YouTube. And for that, that's it. Peace.
No!